What's up, everybody? This is Sean with Old Troy City Reptiles. We're going to do an interview. If you notice, we're at his place.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he lives about 3 hours away, and he ordered some snakes from us, and I, wasn't gonna ship them, so I figured, maybe we could meet at the expo. But he wanted to come down, see the place, and we set it up, and he got some pretty cool animals off us. But yeah, it's a great, having another breeder come down, and just see the reptiles and just, talk reptiles, and it's
love
cool.
it.
It's cool.
yeah. So I guess we got a couple questions.
Yeah,
You,
sure.
bear with us. Bear with me. This is my first doing an interview on somebody. So, and I'm not a camera person, if you guys don't know but yet. Nope, Emily, leave it. What are you doing?
Back it up.
Welcome to my world. Okay, leave it, all right? Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. Kids, you gotta love them.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the hobby?
So I would say when I was younger, I used to go and catch snakes, garden snakes.
Yep.
And I would try to sneak them in the house in my pockets.
I love that.
And then it just grew my interest into reptiles. And then there was the very first exotic pet shop that opened in Fall River, and I went and I checked it out, and I seen some really cool snakes. I was more interested in the snakes than I was anything else. So I talked to my my grandmother, and she was like, "Oh, we're not bringing a snake in the house," and so about a year and a half passed by, and as people know, watching my channel, when I was real young, my mother had passed away. So I think for her to try to, help me get over the, whatever, and she let me get a snake. So it was kind of soothing because I got an animal. It was therapeutic, but the thing is that's why I really push doing educational stuff, is because when we walked in there, and she's like, I want to get a snake for my grandson, we could pick one out, and I seen one that I liked, and I said I want this one, and it was back then it was like $49 or something, and I came home with a Burmese python, a baby Burmese python. And
Don't
so
recommend those as a first snake.
No, so that was my first pet snake. Jeez. And as months and months are going by, now back then we didn't know about, I have she's in a big 8 foot by 3 foot by 18 inches, vision cage.
Yeah. And
Moses is in a vision cage himself. That's our male Burm. I didn't know about them back then. I just knew about tanks. Yeah. So every few months she would go into the pet shop, and she's buying a bigger tank. We couldn't find any bigger tank. A bigger tank for it. Yeah. So I remember I was probably about 18 months later. I'm walking up the street, passing the basketball court, and just passing, probably a half a mile walk back to the pet shop with just a big snake around my shoulders. I went in there, and I was like, it's too big. I can't have it. And, I don't have nothing to keep it in. So he took it back, and he gave me, in return, he gave me a ball python. And I had that ball python.
Which I recommend as a first snake.
Yes.
I think they're the best. That's my opinion.
And I had that ball python for, I would say, 18 years. Oh, wow. I had that ball python for, yes. And, it was, it was cool having it. And then I say about 13 years ago, I started seeing different morphs. I got into it. I seen albinos and pies, and I'm I was working at the time, so I'm I love these snakes, and so I seen the price of a visual pied back then, and I couldn't afford it. And I'm like, so we got some hets, 2 females and a male, and that's how we got our first pied. And I kind of feel shitty because like I never held that bloodline back. I let the hets go, I let the visuals go because I wanted to get into newer things, and you know, but again, you know,
This is how it
yeah.
goes,
So again, you know, about like 12, 13 years ago, I really didn't know much about breeding or anything, and I had a mentor, that pretty much took me under his wing, and what he did is he, showed me, basically, how, how to feed them. Don't take them out of their enclosure. Keep them in their.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that. Memory card again. Emily, please don't touch the camera. Thank you. Pushing my buttons, aren't ya? All right. So back to where we were.
All right. So yeah. So anyways, I had that ball python for a while, and then I got into neuromorphs, and I got a mentor, and he pretty much told me everything I need to know. I was removing the snakes and putting them in just a box and feeding them in there, and he's like, no, you don't do none of that,
That's how I started off my first snake.
And so he taught me so much, and he was 67 years old when I met him, and he was still into the hobby. Now he knew, he knew Tom Crutchfield. He knew Tom Crutchfield. He knew them guys, and like they would, he would get some of his, because at the end he was doing venomous snakes.
Yeah.
Now the first snake that I never said this before. I was telling him, the other night, the first snake that I actually learned how to properly sex was a monocle cobra. And I was scared to death. And when I was done, I was so scared that I forgot how to do it. So
you wouldn't even catch me in the room.
So, but he did a lot of stuff for universities and stuff with the venom, and that's what he did for a living. And he passed away at like 83 years old. But the knowledge he gave me, and I think that's so great. That's why I'm so big into education. Every year we do the Boys and Girls Club, Camp Welch, summer programs, birthday parties. We just want to educate the youth and just educate people in general, because the hobby is looked at so bad. The hobby is looked at like, people look at us as like we're monsters because we keep like these types, we keep reptiles and whatever. And
I know, we hear it all the time.
And up until I've been with my wife for so many years, and up until I would say
Emily, please. Thank you.
So yeah, me and my wife, we met like she just graduated high school, and I would say when I got into reptiles, up until like a year and a half ago, my mother-in-law finally held her first ball python. It took me years and years.
An awesome feeling when you first see it.
Well, okay, so this is what she did. I put about a 300-gram male in her hand.
Yeah.
She held it, and as soon as it moved, she threw it at me.
Oh.
So I was there to catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she held it. She held it.
Yeah.
And the only thing she said was, I don't like the feeling. It's not slimy, but I don't want to do that. So, yeah. But like I said, this hobby is really...
It is amazing that everybody... I've noticed that with people that first see a snake, first pat them for the first time, they always think they're slimy. And they're not.
No, they're
By
not.
any means, they're not slimy.
They're not.
But everybody does think that, though.
Yes, they do. And, it's... I love what Nerd did. Like when Nerd put the reptile channel on blast because the stuff they were doing, that was great. There's a lot of great people in the industry that are doing it the right way, being and trying to teach, and just they're doing things the right way. Then there's people that are in it strictly for the money, and it's, don't get me wrong, look, we all want to make, if we're investing in the animals, we all want to make, our money back. I was, up until maybe 3 years ago, I was just happy, being able to support my collection.
All I can say is, you can be in it for the money, no matter what, but you still have to have passion.
No, you have to.
I mean, people think it's just, they see us opening up tubs and they think it's no work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to it all, and you have to have the passion.
You do. And the thing is, I'm not gonna, I used to do it, and if you watch like my older videos, I would put people on blast. I don't do that anymore because we're trying to rebrand our channel. But there was there's a few people out there. They're just in it for the money. They are, and it's kind of sad. But you know what? It is what it is. But when you, I will spend countless hours speaking to somebody for $150 sale, and then they they don't want it. But but again, in the back of their mind, they're gonna be like, hey, nobody else spent this much time with me, spoke to me, replied to all my emails, actually gave me his phone number, and I was, exactly. And the thing is I always made sure that when I would even hold on to the snake for them if it was extra month or two until they were able to get a one level rack. And I always recommend people, they're looking for a one level rack. Yeah. I tell people to go with the Varium Electronics because they have a one level rack system. So I tell them that, and it's pretty quick response time, delivery time. So I
That's very important.
Yeah. So I would hold on to that for them. As long, even if I would hold on to the snake, an extra 6 weeks to 2 months for them, I want to make sure that snake is going in the appropriate enclosure, and I tell them the importance of a good thermostat, and yeah, it's just about educating. And again, I would, I turned down, as I told you, I turned down, I was gonna turn down a sale for $550 because it's I just thought there was some things going on there. And come to find out, the guy had experience, and I jumped the gun. I didn't treat him rude. I just didn't think that he was up to par to keep the animal because he didn't want to listen to anything I had to say.
And the thing is with us, the snakes are more important. This is a living animal. I used to breed dogs before I did this, and you get people that come in and they're looking at a golden retriever and they're asking about a Rottweiler. And it's and it's hard to sell them. You can't sell them one because they haven't done their research.
It's one thing that I learned over. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But when I'm speaking to somebody and you're trying to get one of my animals, whether from off market or from my business page or whatever, or just a YouTube video, you contact me. And if I ask you, hey, what do you got for an enclosure? And right away you give me an attitude. It's hey, listen, I just want to know. Just tell me. Just tell me, hey, I got a tank, I got this, I got that. Well, okay, I'll just tell them this is what I recommend, and some people get all upset, and then when you're trying to tell people, hey, you don't gotta, I have 4 ball pythons and I remove them all, put them in different things. I'm like, you don't gotta do that, and I'm trying to educate them, but they think I'm being an a-hole, and I'm not. And again, I think that it's so important to educate people, and on top of educating people, my biggest thing is these are my reptiles. I raise 90% of these reptiles that I'm breeding in here from hatchlings. Yeah. And you kind of get a bond with them almost. Yeah. Even the ones that want to rip my face off.
I don't know which one it was.
That was the pastel het puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing is, I've heard that the puzzle is extra aggressive anyway.
Well, until I know the hets are extra aggressive. We got ours from Sean Bradley, and he told me that. that the puzzle gene's like a little extra nippy or a little, but they eat great. They really eat
that's the
great.
best
That's
part.
awesome. When I hatch out baby snakes and my hands are getting bit up, I feel so. I'm like, thank God these snakes are gonna eat. Because it seems that the more aggressive they are babies, the better eaters they're going to be.
I agree with that. My
Yeah.
black pastel baby, that thing is about as aggressive as can be, but she is the #1 eater.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on, guys. I just got to check, make sure we are still recording. Okay.
And